Have you ever wondered if true freedom and lasting wealth are possible in a world filled with anxiety and uncertainty? What if the secret isn't about doing more, but about letting go and learning to accept what's already within you? In the pages of this book, you'll journey beyond the noise of daily worry into a space where acceptance can quiet the turbulence and reveal opportunities for peace, prosperity, and authentic joy. Each chapter invites you to unlock gentle but powerful shifts in perspective, guiding you step by step toward a life no longer ruled by fear, but illuminated by trust and clarity. Acceptance. Over Anxiety, A Guide to Freedom and Wealth, written and published by Intentional Prosperity. Chapter 1. Understanding Your Inner Turmoil. Have you ever found yourself wide awake in the middle of the night, your heart racing, and your thoughts swirling in a storm that refuses to quiet down? Imagine the relief of being able to turn down the volume on those worries, to create a gentle hush inside your mind, instead of being dragged along by the noise. Many of us have lived with a sense that something inside is always unsettled, as if tension or unease shadows our every step. Most people believe they are alone in feeling this constant background anxiety, but the truth is, it touches nearly everyone. Life moves quickly, and with every change, challenge, or unexpected event, our inner alarms sound, adding to the growing sense of unrest. The real struggle begins when we try to fight these feelings or wish them away. Sometimes we tell ourselves that if we could only solve every problem, achieve every goal, or prove ourselves just a bit more, the inner unease would disappear. Yet, the harder we push against anxiety or unrest, the more it seems to tighten its grip. This effort to manage or control the swirling turmoil often leaves us exhausted and further from peace than when we began. The sensation is familiar, whether it's a persistent knot in your stomach, the never-ending list of worries running in your mind, or just a vague sense of discomfort you can't pin down. Instead of moving us forward, these battles with ourselves keep us trapped in cycles of overthinking, self-doubt, and fear. What if there was another way? Rather than using every ounce of energy to suppress, eliminate, or ignore the sensation of inner turmoil, what if you learned to turn toward it with curiosity and kindness? The transformative solution lies not in the pursuit of control, but in the foundational skill of awareness and acceptance. When you intentionally pause and observe your feelings, even the uncomfortable or confusing ones, you create a new space inside yourself. That space is where clarity, freedom, and possibilities can flourish. It is the quiet within the storm where your true self waits patiently to be seen and understood. The core idea here is simple yet profound. Your turmoil is not your enemy, nor is it a measure of your worth. It is a part of your human experience, a signal meant to be noticed, not feared. By choosing to understand and make friends with your inner turbulence, rather than constantly fighting it, you shift from powerlessness to a gentle sense of control over your own response. This conscious practice doesn't make pain or discomfort vanish overnight, but it opens you up to growth, inner wisdom, and real calm. Over time, as you practice meeting your anxiety with genuine acceptance, that relentless inner storm begins to lose its strength, allowing you to access resources and resilience that have always existed within you. With every moment of honest observation, you give yourself permission to heal, grow, and move forward with greater freedom. To begin bringing this awareness and acceptance into your daily routine, start by pausing at moments when you sense that internal tension rising. This doesn't have to happen in silence or during meditation. You could be in the middle of a work project, caught in traffic, or simply going about your day. When the familiar wave of anxiety or discomfort washes over you, practice acknowledging it, saying quietly to yourself, "Here is anxiety," or "Here is that restless feeling." This small act is a powerful first step. It shifts your mind from autopilot to intentional observation, breaking the relentless cycle of struggle and self-criticism. Instead of pushing the feeling away, give yourself permission to notice it as it is. Consider a practical example. Maria, who often felt overwhelmed by the constant buzzing of worry at work, practiced this technique whenever she felt her nerves tightening. Over time, she learned to spot her anxious moments and respond with gentle acknowledgement rather than harsh judgment, realizing her feelings diminished in power. From this gentle awareness, the next step is to resist the urge to control or fix every emotion as soon as it appears. Allow yourself to sit with the turbulence for a short time. Even just a single deep breath can carve out mental space and invite clarity. Imagine a teenager who, throughout his school day, battled anxious thoughts before every exam. Rather than seeking immediate distraction, he made it a habit to breathe slowly and name his feelings before acting. Eventually, his exam anxiety did not dissolve entirely, but its sharp sting softened, making way for clearer thinking and greater self-trust. When you stop the endless chase to eliminate discomfort, you learn that emotions are not as catastrophic as they sometimes seem. With this practice, you will realize inner turmoil is manageable, and peace is within reach, even when circumstances are not ideal. Over time, as you continue to implement moments of pause and honest acknowledgement, you'll start seeing subtle but profound changes. Instead of being pushed around by your emotions, you will discover an emerging sense of calm, control, and resilience. You'll also unlock a wealth of self-understanding and tap into creative solutions to life's challenges, because your mind, no longer distracted by the constant fight, has room to grow. Imagine waking up one morning to find your thoughts less crowded, your heart lighter, and your natural optimism starting to return. This transformation is not reserved for a few. It is available to anyone who chooses to take these first steps and stick with them as part of a journey, not a one-time event. Tonight or tomorrow, try this. When you notice the first flicker of agitation or self-doubt, give yourself a moment to pause and place your attention on the feeling itself, without judgment. Allow one gentle breath, perhaps two, to bridge the gap between reaction and awareness. As this becomes a regular practice, even in small doses, take note of how you experience these moments. Jot down even the smallest victories, a calmer response to stress, a reduction in critical self-talk, or an unexpected moment of peace. Celebrate these steps, however minor they seem, as signs you're moving closer to understanding and befriending your inner world. As you embark on this journey of self-discovery, get ready to explore an even deeper aspect of your emotional experience, the profound illusion of control that so often fuels our anxiety and struggle. In the next chapter, you will unravel why letting go of the need to control every detail can be your gateway to genuine ease and transformation. Before you continue, take a moment to reflect on what you've learned here, and remember, this process is just beginning. For more uplifting guidance and engaging content, remember to subscribe to Intentional Prosperity, like this video, and share your thoughts or suggestions for our growing community. See you in the next chapter where greater freedom awaits. Chapter 2: The Illusion of Control. Have you ever caught yourself believing that with enough willpower and planning, you could prevent every misstep or misfortune in your life? Picture trying to steer a small boat in a fierce current, convinced that with the right grip and enough force, you can command the river's flow. It's a powerful illusion, one that nearly everyone longs to believe is possible. If only you do everything right, nothing bad will ever happen, and life will respond obediently to your commands. This belief feels incredibly reassuring, until reality intrudes, reminding you again and again how little is truly within your grasp. When things fall apart, we blame ourselves for losing control, convinced that a smarter strategy or more effort could have changed the outcome. Everyday life continually reinforces this illusion. You make detailed plans, set goals, and work relentlessly to anticipate every twist and turn. You might obsess over your finances, relationships, or even the behaviors of others, desperate for a sense of security and stability. Yet, despite your best efforts, things don't always go as planned. Traffic jams up, emails bring bad news, friends disappoint, or unexpected events wreck your careful schedule. The result is frustration and a lingering sense of failure, as if you're not just losing control. You're missing out on the life you intended to build. This relentless urge to micromanage everything often creates even more anxiety, locking you in a cycle of tension, second-guessing, and exhaustion. The need to hold life tightly only tightens its grip on you, making your world feel smaller when all you ever wanted was peace. What if the very thing you're trying to achieve, freedom, stability, achievement, lies not in holding on more tightly, but in learning to let go where it counts. The transformative solution comes from recognizing the myth that you can orchestrate every aspect of life. Instead of focusing on what you can't control, shift your energy and attention to what you can, your actions, your responses, and your attitude toward uncertainty. Letting go isn't about giving up or becoming passive. It's about releasing the impossible task of controlling others, outcomes, or random events, so you can direct your energy toward your own growth and resilience. Anyone can practice this art, beginning with small steps, noticing when your grip tightens, acknowledging your limits, and intentionally choosing to redirect your focus. Over time, this shift nurtures trust in both yourself and the natural flow of life. By adopting this mindset, you unlock a remarkable kind of freedom. When you stop fighting reality, a vast reserve of mental and emotional energy is released. You become more adaptable in the face of change, open to new possibilities, and better equipped to navigate chaos without feeling overwhelmed. Instead of measuring your worth by how perfectly you control outcomes, you begin to value your capacity for flexibility and self-trust. People who embrace this perspective often see their relationships improve as well, because they no longer try to control others, choosing trust and mutual respect instead. As you gently loosen your grip on the illusion of control, you grant yourself permission to experience life with greater ease, resourcefulness, and genuine joy. This is not a form of weakness, but an act of courage, and it will strengthen every part of your journey. The process of letting go of the illusion of control starts with a gentle awareness of your tendencies. Notice the small moments each day when you grasp for certainty, whether that's double-checking an email for the 10th time, trying to predict what someone else will do or say, or stressing endlessly over a plan. When you catch yourself in this pattern, bring a pause to your thoughts. Name what's happening silently. I'm seeking control. This simple act plants a seed of mindfulness, breaking the unconscious pattern and giving you space to choose a different response instead of being swept away by habit. With time, bringing this consciousness into your routine becomes second nature, quietly shifting the ground beneath your feet. The next step is to sort between what you can actually influence and what sits outside your reach. Consider Sarah, who spent years trying to manage every detail of her team at work, believing her extra vigilance would keep everyone productive and prevent mistakes. Week after week, she left the office exhausted, and still, things fell through the cracks. Eventually, Sarah tried a new approach. Every morning she made a quick mental checklist of her own responsibilities and where she genuinely had an impact. For the rest, she practiced letting go, trusting her coworkers in the process instead of shouldering every burden herself. Not only did her stress levels drop, but her relationships improved and the team rose to the occasion more often, inspired by her new calmness and leadership. In your own life, do a similar exercise. Each day, clarify one thing firmly in your control, your words, your reactions, your effort, and notice where you can give yourself permission to let go of the rest. Remember, practicing this is not a mark of apathy, but a profound trust in your ability to handle whatever comes. Now turn your attention to responding to uncertainty with kindness rather than resistance. Life will still bring setbacks and curveballs, but your attitude becomes your anchor. When you're frustrated by unexpected delays, a change of plans, or someone else's mistakes, gently remind yourself, I choose flexibility and trust over control. Take a deep breath, release tension from your body, and allow space for curiosity about what else might be possible. This repeated practice not only reduces stress, but also cultivates a resilient mindset that elegantly embraces the unknown, transforming obstacles into opportunities for creativity and growth. The deep benefit of living this way becomes clear as you go. Anxiety fades, not because you've eliminated all uncertainty, but because you are no longer fighting unwinnable battles. Your ability to focus increases, your energy returns, and you may find joy in the present moment, savoring what is rather than endlessly worrying about what might be. Friends, family, and coworkers will sense your steadiness and feel safer sharing their own burdens, strengthening trust and understanding all around you. Most importantly, you gain access to a more genuine sense of confidence, rooted in your ability to adapt rather than your ability to control. Tonight or tomorrow, try this for yourself. The next time you feel overwhelmed by the need to micromanage, stop and breathe intentionally. Write down 2 lists, one of things you truly control, another of things you do not, and commit to letting go of just one item from the second list for the day. Notice how your mind and body respond, and celebrate even a small step forward. Over time, these small choices will accumulate, unlocking a lighter, freer, and more resilient life. In the next chapter, get ready to explore one of the biggest obstacles to freedom: resistance. Letting go is only half the battle. Learning how to recognize and dissolve resistance unlocks even deeper acceptance and ease. As you prepare to continue, remember to subscribe to Intentional Prosperity, like this video, and share your thoughts or suggestions. We'd love to hear your perspective and support your journey every step of the way. Chapter 3: Letting Go of Resistance. Imagine for a moment standing in a fast-moving river, the current swirling at your feet. As you resist the water's strength, your body grows tense and tired with every passing second. The harder you brace against the flow, the more exhaustion you feel. Yet you're convinced that if you hold your ground just a little longer, everything will settle down. Most of us experience this metaphor in our daily lives, pushing back against emotions, situations, or changes that feel uncomfortable or risky. Resistance, though invisible, can silently weave tension into our relationships, our work, and even our beliefs about ourselves. Have you noticed how fighting against things you cannot change often only deepens your struggle? So many people spend vast amounts of energy resisting what life delivers. Perhaps it's a difficult conversation you're avoiding, a career setback you insist isn't fair, or even painful memories you refuse to acknowledge. This resistance can take the form of anger, denial, worry, or endless distraction, anything to dodge facing the uncomfortable head-on. It creates a heavy, internal weight, making challenges seem larger and emotions more intense. Instead of empowering us, resistance often shrinks our sense of possibility, leaving us anxious, stuck, or impatient. The world around us may not change, but our inner landscape becomes cluttered with turmoil and self-judgment. Over time, this constant pushing and bracing removes us from the present and closes the doors to peace, growth, and self-compassion. There is a radically different way to approach these moments, one that requires courage but opens the path to freedom. The transformative solution is to recognize and gently release resistance, rather than fueling it with more struggle. This does not mean passively accepting poor treatment or resigning yourself to every hardship. It means acknowledging what truly is in any given moment and welcoming even the thoughts and emotions you'd rather avoid. Letting go of resistance is an act of self-honesty and surrender, not submission. It invites you to see clearly where your power lies and where it does not, so you stop spending yourself in battle with reality. When you release that deep internal opposition, you create space for genuine acceptance and healing to take root. The core idea here is that your energy is best used not in resisting, but in responding wisely. Accepting reality as it comes does not rob you of strength. It hands true strength back to you. Instead of drowning out your feelings or numbing your pain, you meet every event, emotion, or challenge with gentle curiosity. With this mindset, choices multiply and pathways through difficulty become clearer. By loosening your grip on the impulse to resist, you begin to access peace, even when circumstances around you remain unchanged. Life opens up, suffering softens. The river of change is no longer an enemy, but a force you can work with, learn from, and sometimes even be carried toward new opportunities. This simple shift plants seeds of resilience and deep confidence, reminding you that the freedom and contentment you crave arrive most easily when you stop demanding the world meet your expectations, and instead learn to meet the world where it is, right now. The journey to letting go of resistance begins with honest self-observation. Notice those moments throughout your day when tension flares up. Maybe your jaw tightens during a heated meeting, your shoulders stiffen when plans suddenly change, or irritation creeps in when someone behaves differently than you hoped. When you catch yourself pushing back against reality, gently pause and acknowledge what's happening within. The first step is simply to say to yourself, I am feeling resistance right now. It's here. By naming it, you interrupt the automatic cycle of fight and allow your mind a small space to consider a new approach. Imagine Claire, who used to dread feedback at work and would stew over every comment she saw as criticism. With practice, instead of resisting the discomfort, she started to recognize her defensive reaction as soon as it appeared. She paused, took a breath, and gave herself permission to feel uncomfortable, noticing her resistance with an open curiosity rather than judgment. Over time, feedback became less frightening and eventually a valued tool for her growth and improvement. With practice, you can move from awareness to softening your stance. When a difficult emotion or frustrating situation arises, try to drop the internal storyline that says things shouldn't be this way. Instead, take a slower, deeper breath and allow yourself to sit with what is. This doesn't mean agreeing with unfairness or suppressing your opinions, but consciously choosing to experience your feelings rather than fight them. For example, David noticed that he bristled every time traffic made him late, and his stress would spill over for hours. By experimenting with acceptance, he started to simply observe what he was feeling: impatience, irritation, and sometimes helplessness, without trying to make those feelings disappear. The result wasn't instant calm, but the intensity of his frustration steadily decreased, making it easier for him to move forward when the situation changed or remain peaceful when it did not. As you develop this muscle of acceptance, you'll notice resentment and anxiety start to lose their power. You become lighter, more at ease, and open to growth even during life's messier moments. Relationships improve when others sense you no longer react from a place of tightly held control, but approach differences with space and understanding. Your days seem more spacious because you're no longer burning energy fighting against the way things are. The benefits multiply with each small act of letting go: a more peaceful mind, a sense of creative possibility, and an inner resilience that carries you through uncertainty. To strengthen this new habit, set aside a few minutes tonight or tomorrow to reflect on where resistance most often shows up in your life. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and invite those situations into your awareness. Instead of wrestling with uncomfortable emotions, practice simply allowing them to be present. Write down your observations, noting small shifts in your stress or perspective, no matter how minor. Encourage yourself to revisit this exercise whenever new challenges arise, viewing every effort as evidence of progress, not failure. Remember, releasing resistance is not a one-time achievement, but a compassionate process that gets easier with experience and practice. As you embrace each step in this approach, get ready to take the work even deeper by exploring your emotional landscape. In the next chapter, you will learn how to reclaim ownership of your emotions, transforming feelings from obstacles to tools for growth and self-understanding. Before you turn the page, remember to subscribe to Intentional Prosperity, give this video a like, and share your thoughts or dreams for future topics with us. Each time you practice letting go of resistance, you move closer to the joyful, authentic life you deserve. Stay curious and committed. Your journey is just beginning. Chapter 4: Reclaiming Emotional Ownership. Have you ever wondered why certain emotions seem to control you, dictating your day before you even realize what's happening? Imagine waking up already feeling on edge, only to find that one harsh word from a stranger, a stressful email, or a passing worry quickly sends your mood plunging deeper. For so many, it can feel as if emotions rule over our lives, arriving with such force or subtlety that we begin to believe we have little say in how we feel or react. The world urges us to seek outside validation or blame circumstances for our unhappiness, yet the real discomfort stays rooted inside, whispering that we are powerless in the face of our own emotional storms. This sense of being at the mercy of one's emotions is deeply relatable. Perhaps you find yourself snapping at loved ones on a stressful day and blaming them when it lingers. Maybe a feeling of sadness persists long after its cause has faded, or guilt and frustration arise even when nothing seems objectively wrong. Many people try to escape or numb unwanted emotions through distractions or unhealthy habits. Others project these feelings onto those around them or carry the weight of responsibility for how others feel. believing their worth is tied to keeping everyone happy. Over time, this pattern creates a confusing mix of emotional entanglement, loss of self-agency, and resentment, making it difficult to distinguish your truth from the swirl of external influence. Days can start to blur, made of reactions rather than chosen responses, causing you to feel trapped in cycles of emotional ups and downs that do not really belong to you. What if you could change this dynamic, stepping firmly into a place of genuine empowerment? The transformative solution is found in the powerful act of reclaiming emotional ownership, learning to recognize, honor, and take responsibility for your own feelings without shame or blame. Rather than running from discomfort or seeking to control others' emotions, you begin to see each feeling as valuable information, guiding you toward greater self-knowledge and growth. Emotional ownership is not about perfection or rigid control. Instead, it empowers you to respond thoughtfully, cultivate curiosity about your emotional patterns, and practice compassion toward yourself, even when you fall short. This approach feels like breathing fresh air after years of holding your breath. It gives you the insight to pause before reacting, reflect on what you really need, and communicate with honesty and respect. Embracing emotional ownership is an invitation to know and honor your full self, not just the polished or positive emotions, but every shadow, surge, and whisper. By stepping into this space, you reclaim the ability to choose your response no matter what feelings arise. The core idea is freeing. You are never just a passive recipient of how you feel, but the conscious steward of your inner landscape. Over time, this skill brings remarkable benefits, like deeper self-trust, more authentic relationships, and a sense of steadiness even amidst the uncertainties of life. Taking ownership of your emotions is the turning point where healing and resilience truly begin, opening a path to lasting change and newfound peace. Reclaiming emotional ownership begins with developing the habit of honest self-reflection. When a strong emotion arises, anger, sadness, or even an overwhelming burst of joy, pause and simply notice what you are feeling. This first step of awareness might mean putting a hand on your heart or quietly naming the emotion without judgment. If frustration arrives, say to yourself, "I am feeling frustrated right now," and allow yourself to sit with that truth, if only for a moment. This dedicated act of acknowledgement invites you to become an observer of your feeling rather than its victim. For example, Emma found herself often blaming her husband for her irritability after long workdays. Once she decided to pause and recognize her emotions before speaking, she realized her stress stemmed from internal pressure, not anything her husband had done. By owning her feeling, Emma could communicate more gently, transforming potential arguments into honest sharing and mutual support. Next, explore where the emotion truly originates. Ask yourself, what triggered this feeling? And is it about the current moment or something deeper? This curiosity helps you separate external events from internal reactions, so you don't fall into the trap of projecting emotions onto others or resenting them for your feelings. Consider Daniel, who felt bitter every time a coworker received recognition. After practicing this inward reflection, he saw the root of his discomfort was a long-standing fear of not being good enough, rather than genuine anger at his colleague. Understanding this allowed Daniel to take responsibility for building his own confidence instead of battling imagined enemies. The process of asking honest questions and tracing your feelings back to their roots removes blame and recenters your focus, giving you the knowledge and permission to meet your needs in healthier ways. Another key step is giving yourself and others compassion as you move through this process. Emotional ownership is not about perfection. There will be missteps on tough days, and that's natural. The goal is to treat each emotion as valid, using it as a wise guide for your actions. Take Martina, who struggled with guilt whenever she set boundaries with her family. By recognizing her guilt as both genuine and a signal pointing to her personal values, she learned to express her feelings openly while honoring her own needs. This brought her peace and created more honest, heartfelt connections with those around her. Over time, the regular habit of reflection, investigation, and compassion allows your emotional responses to feel less chaotic and more empowering. You'll notice your communication improves, decisions become more grounded, and you weather emotional storms with greater confidence and calm. To practice this approach today, set aside a quiet moment this evening to write down 3 emotions you felt most strongly in the past 24 hours. Note what you were doing, what might have triggered the feeling, and one kind way you could respond to yourself next time. This simple exercise trains the muscle of ownership and creates a gentle break in the old cycles of blame or avoidance. With regular practice, emotional ownership becomes a new baseline, an ongoing journey that brings increasing clarity, harmony, and strength. As you build this new relationship with yourself, prepare to take another profound step on your path, moving beyond avoidance to embrace the radical power of acceptance. The next chapter will explore how intentionally choosing acceptance over avoidance empowers you to rewrite old narratives and claim freedom, even in life's messier moments. Before you move ahead, take a moment to subscribe to Intentional Prosperity. Give this video a thumbs up and share your insights or questions in the comments. Your story and commitment inspire others. Keep going and let every reflection be a step toward deeper understanding and lasting change. Chapter 5: Choosing Acceptance Over Avoidance. Consider for a moment how many hours of your life have been spent dodging discomfort or running from problems you weren't ready to face. What if all the energy it takes to avoid your difficult feelings or unwanted situations could be transformed into a powerful force for growth and freedom? The act of turning away is nearly universal. Maybe you avoid crucial conversations, distract yourself when loneliness creeps in, push away grief or embarrassment, or pretend everything is fine while your mind worries endlessly beneath the surface. Sometimes, avoidance wears clever disguises and passes as productive busyness, social media scrolling, overeating, or even relentless perfectionism. It promises temporary relief, yet deep down, you sense that ducking the truth only buries it, allowing the pain or problem to gain more power over your life the longer it is ignored. Almost everyone struggles with patterns of avoidance. It can show up as unfinished projects, promises you never keep to yourself, relationships that remain surface level, or chronic stress that seems to have no clear source. Many times, it even masquerades as a form of control. If you can just avoid feeling bad or making mistakes, then maybe you can keep life smooth and safe. But what happens instead? Avoidance often expands your worries, leaving a quiet ache or restlessness that grows day by day. You might feel haunted by a vague sense of guilt, a shrinking comfort zone, or relationships that feel hollow no matter how hard you try to fill them. Life becomes a series of narrow escapes rather than genuine experiences, and the world seems less trustworthy because you distrust your own ability to show up fully and face uncertainty. Imagine now the possibility of meeting life head-on. The transformative solution in this moment is choosing acceptance in place of avoidance. A choice that means you gently turn toward your feelings, circumstances, and challenges instead of retreating from them. Acceptance is not a passive surrender or permission for hardship to overrun your boundaries. Instead, it is about allowing things to be as they are, so you can respond with clarity, presence, and wisdom. Choosing acceptance gives you the priceless gift of relieving yourself from the constant tension of running away. This process makes space for genuine healing to begin, by allowing sorrows, disappointments, and truths to be seen, heard, and embraced. In accepting instead of avoiding, you gain the power to move past stuckness and into meaningful change. The core idea behind acceptance is rooted in self-honesty and resilience. When you face reality as it is, even if it's uncomfortable, you reclaim energy once trapped by denial, distraction, or dread. Accepting doesn't mean liking everything you experience. It's about agreeing to meet reality with open eyes and a kind heart. This mindset supports emotional maturity and self-trust because you prove to yourself you can withstand discomfort, learn from it, and grow without fleeing. You discover that pain is not something to outmaneuver, but a teacher that can deepen courage, clarity, and the sense of being truly alive. Life opens up again, not because problems vanish, but because your capacity to handle them expands with every step you take toward acceptance, enriching every relationship and experience. The journey from avoidance to acceptance begins with consciously acknowledging what you are tempted to turn away from. When you notice yourself sidestepping a difficult thought, emotion, or situation, pause for a moment and gently name what you are experiencing. You might say to yourself, "I'm feeling anxious about that conversation," or "I want to avoid thinking about my finances." By bravely recognizing where avoidance tries to lead you, you break the automatic pattern and create space for a new response. Ava, for example, spent years ignoring conflicts at work, hoping they would dissolve if left alone, but they only grew larger over time. When she began naming her reluctance and facing it directly, she realized the anticipation was often far worse than reality. Her relationships gradually shifted as honest dialogue replaced simmering resentment and confusion. As you grow more skilled at noticing avoidance, practice turning toward your discomfort with curiosity rather than criticism. Spend a few minutes each day sitting quietly and inviting your feelings to surface, no matter how unwelcome they might be. If sadness, regret, or even anger emerges, allow yourself to feel these emotions without the need to react, change, or judge them. Imagine Michael, who used to distract himself from his loneliness by filling his schedule to the brim. When he allowed time to simply be with his loneliness, perhaps by writing about it or talking openly with a friend, he discovered relief in expressing what he truly felt rather than constantly running away. The process of sitting with discomfort teaches you that these feelings will not overwhelm you. Instead, they often pass more quickly when given space. Another powerful step is to dialogue with your experience, asking, "What is this feeling or challenge teaching me? Or what do I need right now to respond with care?" Treat your discomfort as a messenger rather than an adversary. If you're avoiding a financial reality, for instance, ask what beliefs or fears are underpinning that avoidance, and consider what small action you might take to bring clarity, whether that is looking at your expenses, making a plan, or asking for help. Taking just one step toward acceptance, no matter how minor, often creates momentum and builds confidence. The more you practice, the more natural and empowering this process becomes. The benefits of choosing acceptance are profound. As you learn to face discomfort instead of running from it, stress decreases and your sense of personal power grows. Your relationships deepen with honest communication and fewer lingering resentments. Issues that once felt overwhelming appear more manageable when confronted openly. Often, a sense of lightness and possibility emerges where heaviness used to dwell, and self-respect blooms as you show yourself you have the courage to approach life directly. Tonight, or whenever the impulse to avoid appears, practice inviting one piece of discomfort into your awareness. Notice your body and your thoughts. Try jotting down what happens when you accept the feeling just as it is, and remember that growth unfolds with each practice, not all at once. The skill of acceptance gets stronger every time you use it, even on the smallest of challenges. Next, prepare to discover how to shift your relationship with fear itself. In the following chapter, you'll learn practical tools for making peace with fear, transforming it from a roadblock into a trusted guide for personal growth. To stay connected with empowering lessons, subscribe to Intentional Prosperity, give this video a like, and share your stories or suggestions in the comments below. Each step toward acceptance brings you closer to real freedom. Your journey forward continues with each brave moment you choose to meet life as it truly is. Chapter 6. Making Peace with Fear. What if the very feeling you spend your whole life trying to avoid is actually the doorway to your greatest growth? Picture yourself on the edge of a leap, maybe a new job, a difficult conversation, or the choice to pursue a risky dream. There's a tightness in your chest, a voice whispering that you might not be ready, that what lies ahead could be too overwhelming. That feeling is fear, and it arrives whether you want it or not, sometimes in a sudden wave, sometimes as a quiet hum beneath daily routines. For most people, fear is something to escape, disprove, or conquer. Yet the harder you struggle to outsmart or overcome fear, the tighter its grip often becomes. At one time or another, everyone wrestles with fear. Whether it announces itself as anxiety before an interview, doubt when loving someone deeply, or the hesitancy holding you back from sharing your real opinions, fear pulls invisible strings in all parts of life. You might distract yourself endlessly to avoid facing it, or say no to new opportunities not because you're uninterested, but because saying yes feels terrifying. These patterns are as universal as they are exhausting, and they keep you rooted in the same place while life moves forward around you. Instead of propelling you to action or caution, unchecked fear can turn dreams into distant daydreams, relationships into hesitant exchanges, and ambitions into sources of silent regret. When fear is managed with avoidance, it grows, and the space for excitement, joy, and surprise quietly contracts. But what if fear is not your enemy? The transformative solution here is to make peace with fear, to greet it openly rather than shut it out, and view it not as a threat but as a teacher. Rather than steeling yourself against fear, allow it to be present as a natural human response to change, loss, or growth. Making peace with fear shifts your approach. Instead of shrinking from challenge, it allows you to see fear as essential information. Underneath its alarm often lies a message about where you care deeply, where a boundary needs respect, or where greater courage is ready to develop. Imagine being able to walk into any situation, not free from fear, but willing to welcome it alongside you, steady and unashamed. This approach grants you new power and flexibility because now fear is not a roadblock, but a signal pointing you toward what deserves attention, compassion, or boldness. The core idea here is to stop viewing fear as evidence of weakness or as a barrier meant to be eradicated. Instead, making peace with fear is about curiosity, kindness, and acceptance. By allowing your fear to surface and listening closely to what it is trying to say, you expand your capacity to move forward with wisdom. The remarkable benefit of this mindset is not the absence of fear, but the presence of greater freedom and confidence. Not because everything is certain, but because you have learned to coexist with discomfort without letting it control your story. When you approach fear in this new way, your sense of possibility begins to blossom, and previously impossible steps become powerful markers of progress. Learning how to make peace with fear starts by acknowledging its presence with honesty and compassion. The next time you sense anxiety welling up, or you hesitate before a daunting task, try pausing instead of immediately launching into self-doubt or avoidance. Name your feeling clearly, saying to yourself, "I am afraid." Sometimes, just giving your fear a clear label can soften its power. Take a few slow breaths and allow that fear to exist without forcing it away. Maya, a public speaker who once struggled with crippling stage fright, practiced this step each time nerves struck before an event. By greeting her fear by name rather than masking it, she found her anxiety became more manageable, and gradually her confidence grew each time she stepped into the spotlight. Once you identify your fear, get curious about its message rather than judging yourself for feeling it. Ask, what is this fear trying to protect me from? Or where in my life do I care enough that I feel this vulnerable? Allow the answer to arise gently. Sometimes you discover that your fear is a sign that you deeply value the task, the relationship, or the outcome you're facing. Anthony, for example, would get anxious every time he thought about changing careers. At first, he felt guilt and shame about these feelings, but when he questioned what lay beneath his fear, he discovered his strong desire to support his family, as well as his aspirations for more purposeful work. By seeing his fear as a signal of both care and hope, he was able to step beyond it, piece by piece, instead of freezing in place or abandoning his dreams. With self-awareness in place, act with gentle courage. This does not require grand gestures. Rather, it means making a small step toward the thing you fear, even while the feeling is present. You might send an important email despite butterflies in your stomach, share your thoughts in a meeting while your voice trembles, or sign up for that new class, although uncertainty lingers. Each time you do this, you send your mind a subtle but lasting message. You are strong enough to take action with fear as your companion. Over time, the cycle of avoidance weakens, and in its place grows a stronger sense of self-respect and capability. Experiencing these benefits is profoundly liberating. The world no longer feels so threatening, and new opportunities start to appear where you once saw only obstacles. You may find relationships deepen as you express yourself more authentically, and creativity flourishes without the barrier of perfectionism holding you back. Moments that once seemed overwhelming become stepping stones into a world where you are free to try, learn, adapt, and celebrate progress, not just perfection. Tonight or tomorrow, choose one area where you know fear tends to hold you back. Write a note to yourself about what you fear most, and ask what positive value the fear might be pointing toward. Take one practical step forward, even if it is tiny, and notice how the act of moving with fear, instead of against it, shifts your energy and outlook. As you prepare to move ahead, get ready to discover how trusting the flow of life can help you continue growing, even when you're unsure what comes next. The next chapter will show how letting go and trusting opens doors to clarity, peace, and abundance. Before you continue, subscribe to Intentional Prosperity, give this video a like, and please share your stories or comments. Your voice helps our community grow stronger with every step we take together on this journey. Chapter 7. Trusting the Flow of Life. Have you ever felt as though you are pushing a boulder up a hill, believing that effort alone will guarantee a smooth path and a predictable outcome? Consider how life can often seem like a series of hurdles to clear, every step planned, every detail tightly managed, yet the ground keeps shifting beneath your feet. Unexpected news, changes at work, or relationships evolving in ways you never imagined can send even the most diligent planner into a spiral of worry or resistance. This sense of uncertainty leaves many people feeling anxious or restless, always preparing for the next challenge, bracing for the loss of control. The secret longing beneath this vigilance is simple. We crave a sense of safety, predictability, and purpose. But what happens when reality refuses to stay inside the lines we carefully draw for it? The struggle with life's unpredictability is almost universal. Perhaps you replay conversations in your mind, hunting for what you missed or could have done differently. You might find yourself over-planning for every possible contingency, or tense up every time circumstances shift without warning. These attempts to wrestle life into order are exhausting, and often the more you try to force certainty, the more elusive it feels. This constant striving for control leads to frustration, self-doubt, and a narrowness of perspective. Over time, this guarded approach can leave you feeling as though genuine joy, creativity, and ease are always just out of reach, replaced instead by endless lists, ruminations, and emotional fatigue. The world appears unfriendly to those who trust, so you hold yourself back, imagining you must always do more to feel secure or valuable. What if real peace and power are waiting for you precisely in the moments where you let go and choose trust over fear? The transformative solution begins when you shift from resisting life's changes to trusting the natural flow of events, even when you can't see the destination. Trusting the flow of life is not about being passive or resigning yourself to whatever happens. Rather, it is an active practice of choosing confidence in yourself and in the process unfolding around you. This means approaching each day with a willingness to respond to challenges instead of bracing against them, believing that unexpected changes can lead to growth and possibilities beyond what you could have predicted. The core idea behind this shift is acceptance of the unknown paired with faith in your own resilience. Trusting the flow allows you to relax unnecessary tension, listen deeply to your inner wisdom, and spot unexpected opportunities even in setbacks. Each time you consciously put trust before rigid control, you invite calm where there was anxiety and spaciousness where there was tightness. By embracing the flow of life, you allow its gifts to surface naturally. New connections, creative impulses, solutions you had not planned for, and a sense of harmony with the world as it truly is. Over time, trust becomes your steady foundation. You no longer have to carry the world by yourself. Instead, you meet each moment as it comes, strong in the knowledge that yes, life is unpredictable, but you are fully capable of riding its current and finding the beauty in the journey. Shifting into trust begins with the simple but powerful decision to notice your patterns of control and gently release them, one step at a time. Start by identifying situations where you feel your grip tightening. Maybe it's when plans change at work, when your family doesn't respond as you expected, or when daily setbacks disrupt your vision of how things should be. When you become aware of this urge to control, pause and take a few slow breaths, reminding yourself that it's safe to relax and let life unfold as it will. Beth, for instance, used to fill her calendar with tasks and micromanage every family detail out of fear something might go wrong. After reflecting on where this need came from and practicing intentional breathing when tension arose, she found herself speaking more kindly to her children, pivoting more easily when the unexpected happened, and laughing more. Her days began to feel lighter as her family became more connected and relaxed. After cultivating awareness, practice responding to uncertainty with curiosity and adaptability rather than bracing for disappointment or trying to force predictable outcomes. When obstacles appear, try asking yourself, what can I learn from this? Or how might this open a door I hadn't considered? Michael faced a sudden job loss after a long, stable career. Instead of closing down or obsessing over what-ifs, he gave himself permission to be open to possibilities. He reached out to old connections, explored fields he'd never considered, and accepted freelance projects while searching for a new permanent position. The uncertainty gradually transformed into a period of creative growth and new opportunities, ones he now credits for expanding his perspective and introducing him to work that felt truly meaningful. The next step is to practice gratitude for the present moment, even when circumstances are uncertain or imperfect. Set aside a few minutes each day to notice and appreciate something that's happening right now, no matter how small. A ray of sunlight on your desk, the sound of your own laughter, or the comfort found in a friend's message. Anna, who often struggled with anxious anticipation, created a daily ritual of writing down 3 small things she appreciated before bed. She noticed that her worries softened and her mood gradually shifted, allowing her to patient more confident in the face of uncertainty. By choosing to attend to the positive, she invited more ease and trust into her life, finding her days rich with small, meaningful joys. The benefits of trusting the flow of life ripple out in every direction. You become more resilient, confident, and willing to take creative chances. Relationships deepen because you're less reactive and more accepting of others as they are. Setbacks no longer define you because you trust yourself to adapt and learn with every challenge. Most importantly, you experience a greater sense of freedom and joy. The world looks brighter, not because nothing goes wrong, but because you know you can thrive no matter what changes come. Try this for yourself tonight or tomorrow. When you notice your mind racing or your body tensing in response to uncertainty, pause and take 10 slow, deep breaths. Reflect on one area in your life where you can choose to let go a little and trust a little more. Notice what shifts for you and celebrate even the smallest sign of ease or courage. Allow each practice to build upon the last, making trust a habit that opens every new door life places in your path. As you turn the page, prepare to discover how calm can become a daily anchor in your life. The next chapter focuses on building inner stability and peace through small rituals and gentle discipline, giving you reliable tools for weathering life's storms. Remember, to stay inspired on this journey, subscribe to Intentional Prosperity, click the like button, and share your ideas or experiences in the comments. Every voice strengthens our community, and your step toward trust can be the spark that lights another's way forward. Chapter 8. Calm as a Daily Practice. What if the collected calm you seek in meditation retreats or tranquil getaways could become a familiar part of every day, no matter what life hands you? Imagine starting your morning not with a torrent of stress or the anxious buzz of notifications, but with quiet clarity and steady confidence. The world is noisy, routines are busy, and the unexpected waits around every corner. Intense schedules, pressures at work, family commitments, and information overload flood your mind before you even have a chance to pause. At night, it can feel impossible to quiet your thoughts enough to truly rest. Many people find themselves longing for calm, but convince themselves that true peace is only available in special moments or on rare, tranquil afternoons away from regular life. For most, the daily rush leaves little space for true rest or presence. It's all too easy to live on autopilot, reacting to each new demand or challenge with urgency, gradually forgetting what it's like to experience deep internal quiet. Irritability builds, stress compounds, and even joyful moments are clouded by distraction or anticipation of the next crisis. You might tell yourself, I can't relax until everything is done, but your to-do list only ever grows. The cost of this unending busyness is not just exhaustion, but a shrinking sense of joy and spaciousness in your days. Without a foundation of calm, resilience weakens, relationships grow tense, and even the smallest setback feels overwhelming. Calm, it seems, is a luxury reserved for those with fewer worries or responsibilities. But the truth is far more empowering. Calm is not an accident or a perk of circumstance. It is a skill you can build, nurture, and return to at will. The transformative solution begins with the powerful decision to shift from waiting for calm to consciously practicing it, deliberately cultivating tranquility and presence regardless of what is swirling around you. It is about learning to create micro moments of steadiness throughout your day. A single deep breath before opening your email, a mindful sip of tea at your desk, or a pause to observe the world outside your window. When you commit to inviting calm into these small moments, you gradually anchor yourself in a new, more resourceful state. The core idea here is that daily calm is built from attention and intention. This approach is not about erasing all stress, nor does it require you to escape daily life. Instead, calm becomes the ground upon which you greet each experience with clarity and focus. Little by little, you realize that chaos and serenity can coexist. Circumstances may not always be peaceful, but you can bring your presence and peace to any situation. The benefits ripple outward: improved concentration, more thoughtful responses to difficulties, gentler relationships, and a deep inner knowing that you can rely on your own steadiness no matter how unpredictable life becomes. This sense of control and self-support is what infuses every day with a greater sense of well-being and lasting fulfillment. Integrating calm into your daily routine does not require a dramatic change in lifestyle or a complete escape from your responsibilities. Begin by bringing awareness to the spaces that already exist in your day, moments between tasks, short pauses before transitions, or small rituals like making coffee or stepping outside. The first actionable step is to pause intentionally, even if just for a minute, and take 3 slow, thoughtful breaths. Let your attention rest on each inhale and exhale, training your mind to anchor itself in that quiet oasis instead of chasing distractions. When you choose these tiny intervals for stillness, you teach yourself that calm is accessible right here, not somewhere distant in the future. Next, build on this habit by creating a regular moment of mindful routine, something uncomplicated but meaningful. For example, consider Mia, who realized her mornings were a rush of tasks and lists that left her frazzled before she'd even left the house. She challenged herself to sit in silence with a cup of tea for 5 minutes each morning, doing nothing else. At first, her thoughts raced, but gradually she learned to simply notice her breath, the warmth of the cup in her hands, and the sounds around her. Over several weeks, she found herself arriving at work calmer, approaching problems with more patience, and treating others with a gentle steadiness that influenced the entire atmosphere of her workplace. Equally important is your response to difficult moments. When stress levels spike or emotions flare, practice giving yourself permission to pause rather than react immediately. Peter, who often felt overwhelmed by tense family dinners, began stepping away for a few quiet breaths instead of engaging in arguments. This pause offered a new space to choose his response and return to the table with clarity and patience, often diffusing tension before it escalated. With repetition, these experiences built trust in his own ability to maintain calm, even in situations that previously triggered anxiety or frustration. The impact of these micro-practices is powerful. As you choose calm over and over, in small, ordinary moments, you create an environment where peace and stability grow stronger each day. Clarity replaces confusion, decisions become less impulsive, and frustrations lose their hold. Sleep comes more easily, relationships warm, and you move through obstacles with the feeling that nothing needs to be rushed or forced. This approach is not about denying strong feelings or pretending challenges don't exist. It is about building a foundation so solid that even when storms come, you always know how to find your center. Try this approach for yourself. Tonight or tomorrow morning, decide on a single moment when you will invite calm into your day. A short breathing practice, a break to watch clouds, a pause before making a difficult call. Take a few gentle, mindful breaths and notice how your body and mind respond. As you repeat this practice, let your confidence grow in your own ability to return to calm at will, no matter what else is happening. Make each step an act of self-care, a reminder that peace is a resource already inside you. Looking ahead, you will learn that cultivating calm prepares fertile ground for abundance and clarity. The next chapter explores how recognizing and clearing inner clutter can help you invite greater wealth and opportunities into your life. If you're finding value along this journey, remember to subscribe to Intentional Prosperity. Give this video a like and share your practices or thoughts in the comments. Your progress can encourage others, and together we build a supportive, vibrant community committed to lasting growth. Chapter 9: Abundance Begins with Clarity. Have you ever wondered why, even with so much potential around you, a sense of abundance can feel just out of reach? Imagine looking out over a beautiful garden, yet seeing only shadows and thorns because the glass through which you peer is smudged by worry, doubt, and distraction. The way we experience abundance, whether in the form of financial wealth, supportive relationships, opportunities, or even good health, is directly shaped by the clarity through which we view our lives. When your inner world is cluttered with confusion, comparison, and unmet expectations, the landscape of possibility narrows, and opportunities begin to blend into the noise of everyday problems. Many people struggle to see abundance clearly. Instead, they focus on what's lacking: the missed promotion, the bills that seem unending, the friendships that don't feel as rich as hoped. Self-doubt creeps in when goals remain unfulfilled, and the mind falls into a cycle of comparison with others who seem to have more. With so many voices, both internal and external, making demands on your attention, it's easy to become blind to what is working well or what sources of fulfillment already exist in your life. Sometimes, the inability to recognize abundance is not about its actual absence, but the fog created by mixed priorities, unfinished emotional business, or constant rushing. In those moments, it becomes hard to believe that life could truly be generous to you, and even harder to spot and accept the many forms abundance quietly takes. The transformative solution, then, is to clear away that internal fog and cultivate the kind of clarity that lets you see and truly receive the wealth of opportunities already present. This shift begins with a conscious choice to pause and gently examine where your attention is going. When you turn down the noise and step back from the habits of comparison and scarcity thinking, you open space for self-honesty and gratitude. By intentionally focusing on what is working, what makes you feel alive, and what values you hold most dear, you start to uncover a foundation of abundance that is independent of circumstance. This clarity is not just about willpower, it's about reorienting your perspective so that small joys and resources come into sharper focus, and obstacles become invitations to grow, rather than barriers that define your limits. The core idea at the heart of abundance is that your relationship with wealth, financial or otherwise, starts inside, not out there. Clarity allows you to unearth what matters most, to release illusions about what you should want, and to spot the genuine treasures that fill your life already. With this kind of vision, you transform moments of scarcity into rich platforms for creativity. You see a setback not as a final judgment, but as fertile ground for possibility. Confidence and gratitude become natural byproducts of clear seeing. The world no longer appears random or unfair, but instead becomes a landscape ripe with chances to give, receive, and grow in directions you might never have once considered possible. To foster clarity and unlock abundance in your life, start with the foundational practice of mindful observation. Set aside a few peaceful moments to reflect honestly on where your thoughts and energy flow most of the time. Notice if your attention lingers on dissatisfaction, scarcity, or comparison. This first step is about seeing the mental clutter with fresh, gentle eyes, not rushing to judge yourself or try to fix everything in one sweep. For instance, Julia, a project manager, realized she spent her evenings scanning social media and stewing over what she hadn't accomplished. When she paused each morning to list 3 things she appreciated or achieved, the fog started to lift. She could see her efforts, friendships, and moments of peace for what they truly were, signs that her life held more abundance than she had allowed herself to recognize. Once you have observed your mental patterns, take practical action to reset your focus. Create a simple habit of gratitude by acknowledging sources of wealth, material, emotional, or spiritual, that already belong to you. This might be as basic as writing down enjoyable moments at the end of the day, or pausing to savor a supportive conversation, the security of shelter, or the beauty of a sunrise. Adam, once stuck in a cycle of dissatisfaction with his career, decided to keep a daily gratitude jar on his desk. Every afternoon, he dropped in a note about something that brought him satisfaction or comfort. Within weeks, his perspective shifted and new opportunities, once obscure, started appearing more clearly on his path. By practicing gratitude, he cleared away mental noise and opened up space for constructive decisions, bolder networking, and little flashes of inspiration that he hadn't seen before. A next step is gentle self-inquiry. Ask yourself meaningful questions. What truly matters to me right now? And which possibilities am I overlooking because I'm too focused on what's missing? Consider Sarah, an entrepreneur who long viewed her limited investments as a barrier. Through reflection, she realized that focusing on the freedom and creativity her work allowed offered her more abundance than a financial windfall ever could. This new clarity enabled her to approach her business decisions with steadiness and joy, multiplying both her resilience and her peace, regardless of market ups and downs. The more consistently you turn down the volume on scarcity thinking and make space for clarity, the more equipped you become to respond freely and eagerly to opportunities. Benefits begin to spread into every area of your life. Stress fades, problem-solving becomes easier, relationships feel more nourishing because you see others' gifts instead of shortcomings, and even challenges become stepping stones rather than setbacks. Life feels richer, more welcoming, and you gain a sense of confidence and grateful anticipation. To solidify this mindset, try setting aside 10 minutes today. Sit down with a blank page and write about what abundance means to you, what you already have, and how you might open your eyes to more of it tomorrow. Treat this as an ongoing process rather than a quick fix, and watch the evidence of abundance grow in ways both subtle and surprising. In the next chapter, you will discover how to redefine wealth from within, moving beyond outward measurements to a deeply rooted sense of prosperity and enoughness. For more empowering lessons, subscribe to Intentional Prosperity, leave a like for this video, and share how clarity has unlocked abundance or joy in your own story. Your action may illuminate the way for others still searching for the view beyond their own fog. Chapter 10: Redefining Wealth from Within. What if true wealth had nothing to do with your bank account or the possessions you display, but lived instead in the quiet confidence and lasting fulfillment that comes from deep within? Imagine waking up every day not measuring your worth by your achievements or comparing your life to pictures online, but by an inner sense of contentment and enoughness that cannot be bought or lost. Too many people chase wealth as a destination, believing freedom, happiness, or confidence will arrive with the next raise, bigger house, or expanded business. Yet, even as external successes are checked off, the feeling of lacking, pressure, or isolation can remain. This endless pursuit rarely delivers the ease, joy, or freedom we imagine, and somewhere along the way, true prosperity slips from view. Most people are never taught to question what wealth actually is. The world bombards you with messages about what should make you feel rich: flashy cars, luxury brands, a packed schedule, or the approval of others. Yet the stress of constant comparison, financial worry, or striving for more often leads to burnout rather than fulfillment. You might know the dull ache of always needing the next purchase, the upward climb that feels never-ending, or the emptiness of winning a prize that brings only temporary novelty. The cost of chasing external standards of wealth is a life shaped by anxiety, fatigue, and the fear of falling behind or losing what you have. Despite temporary highs, genuine security and contentment remain elusive, making it easy to wonder if lasting wealth was ever really meant for you. Now, consider a radical new path: redefining wealth from the inside out. The transformative solution is to shift your focus from external markers to building a foundation of inner prosperity, one that is steady regardless of market trends, life's unpredictability, or other people's opinions. This work begins by turning your gaze inward to recognize the value in your experience, strengths, relationships, and moments of peace that often go unnoticed. By changing how you measure success, placing joy, connection, well-being, and a sense of purpose front and center, you cultivate a richness that cannot be taken away, even in challenging times. The essence of this change is rooted in self-acceptance, gratitude, and the deliberate creation of meaning in everyday life. When you learn to notice what you have rather than obsessing about what you lack, contentment grows, and the compulsion to keep up starts to lose its pull. Redefining wealth in this way liberates you from the cycle of comparison, freeing energy for experiences, growth, and creativity. It means you can grow your resources, not just in financial terms, but in emotional wisdom, relationships, kindness, and the courage to live authentically. Adopting this new understanding is an act of claiming your own definition of prosperity, one that is expansive enough to celebrate small wins, foster deep connections, recover from setbacks, and enjoy moments of quiet gratitude that others may overlook. True wealth becomes not a destination, but a way of being that infuses every moment of life with meaning, confidence, and hope. Redefining wealth from within starts by bringing awareness to the internal values and resources that already exist in your life. Begin this shift by taking 10 undisturbed minutes to honestly reflect on your sources of joy, strength, connection, and comfort. Make a simple list, noting qualities and relationships that make you feel resilient and fulfilled. Anything from supportive friendships, meaningful hobbies, personal skills, to the peace experienced in quiet moments. By intentionally highlighting these inner riches, you create a tangible sense of gratitude and help train your mind to recognize what is truly valuable right now. Consider Joshua, who for years defined himself by promotions and salary growth. When layoffs threatened his industry, he felt lost and anxious, until he started spending evenings listing the ways he contributed to his community and the enduring friendships he had neglected to celebrate. In time, he found that his new appreciation for his inner and social wealth gave him energy and openness, even as external uncertainties swirled. A second step is to nurture these sources of inner wealth through small, consistent acts. For example, you might set aside time each day to connect with a loved one, deepen a creative interest, or reflect on a challenge overcome in the past. These actions reinforce your sense of sufficiency and replenish confidence, no matter what changes happen in your financial situation. Megan, who once felt not enough whenever friends shared stories of exotic travel, began volunteering at a local art program she loved. The relationships and sense of contribution she built quickly became a wellspring of joy and pride, riches that could not be measured by comparison or lost to market changes. With each small action, she crafted a personal tapestry of fulfillment and connection, which grew stronger and more resilient over time. The third pivotal practice is to question inherited or externally imposed definitions of wealth and success. Ask, what truly defines prosperity for me, not for social media, old family expectations, or popular opinion, but for my deepest self? Write a new definition in your own words. Let it speak to the kind of life you long to lead: generous, self-assured, adventurous, or peaceful. Rick, an entrepreneur once consumed by work for external status, reimagined his definition of wealth around time freedom and being present for milestones with his children. The shift revolutionized not only his day-to-day joy, but allowed him to make choices that prioritized his health and relationships, leading eventually to both financial and emotional prosperity on his own terms. By returning to and reaffirming your inner wealth, challenges and comparisons lose power over your emotions and decisions. Peace and contentment become accessible in the present, and you approach opportunities with a clearer sense of personal value, making confident choices that align with your values and attract more of what nurtures you. You will feel lighter, less reactive in times of stress, and more compassionate with yourself as you learn and grow. Tonight, or in the morning, carve out a quiet space to write your own definition of wealth and what inner resources you already possess. Then, choose one small act each day to honor and strengthen that richness. These daily practices anchor you in the kind of abundance that is secure, lasting, and uniquely yours, ready to carry you through any circumstance. As you prepare for the coming chapter, get ready to infuse your self-worth and confidence with even greater self-compassion. Next, you will learn how to treat yourself with the same kindness you aspire to show others, unlocking untapped strength for your most meaningful goals. Before you turn the page, remember to subscribe to Intentional Prosperity, give this video a like, and share your realizations or personal meaning of wealth in the comments. Your story may offer the very inspiration someone else needs to begin nurturing lasting abundance in their own life. Chapter 11. Confidence through Self-Compassion. Have you ever wished you could silence the harsh voice in your head and replace it with one that lifts you up and believes in your ability to succeed? Imagine the possibilities in your life if, instead of doubting yourself or replaying your mistakes, you offered yourself understanding, encouragement, and patience each time you struggled or tried something new. Many people are taught that confidence comes from never making mistakes, fearlessly facing every challenge, or meeting certain standards of beauty, intelligence, or achievement. But in reality, the kind of confidence that carries you through the highs and lows of life does not come from being perfect or impressing others. It comes from the way you treat yourself when things don't go as planned. Most people encounter self-doubt at some point in their lives, whether it's the fear of public failure, insecurity around others, or the hesitation that stops you from taking a leap. Negative self-talk, those automatic, critical thoughts, can become a lifelong companion if left unchallenged. Maybe you beat yourself up for errors at work or school, fixate on flaws others may not notice, or withdraw from opportunities out of fear that you're simply not good enough. This constant inner criticism chips away at not just your self-esteem, but also your motivation, resilience, and willingness to try again. The dream of feeling truly confident can start to seem impossible and out of reach. The transformation begins when you choose self-compassion over self-criticism. Self-compassion is the skill of meeting your difficulties, mistakes, and vulnerabilities with kindness instead of blame. Instead of shaming yourself or demanding perfection, you begin to offer the kind of understanding and encouragement you would readily give to a beloved friend or child. This does not mean pretending you have no faults or ignoring what went wrong. It means responding to your humanity with patience, opening the door for gentle growth and creative solution finding. By giving yourself the space to fail, learn, and move forward, you create a supportive foundation where confidence naturally grows. At the core, building confidence through self-compassion is about acknowledging every part of yourself, the achievements and the lessons, the successes and setbacks. You stop waiting until you earn love or respect and instead decide, moment by moment, to stand by yourself regardless of outcome. Confidence in this sense does not come from a flawless track record, but from the steady belief that you will support, forgive, and root for yourself as you pursue change or face challenges. The more freely you grant yourself encouragement, empathy, and acceptance, the bolder you become in both your goals and relationships. You will discover that real confidence is not a sudden transformation, but the gentle, persistent warmth of your own care and respect, growing stronger with every choice to be on your own side, no matter what happens. Building lasting confidence through self-compassion starts with one crucial act: becoming aware of your inner critic and how it speaks to you. Pay attention the next time you make a mistake, feel embarrassed, or come up short in a goal. Notice the words that cross your mind. Are they supportive, or do they sound more like blame and disappointment? Gently interrupt this cycle by pausing and addressing yourself as you would a dear friend facing the same situation. You might say, "It's completely normal to feel this way," or "That didn't go as planned, but I tried my best and I can learn from this." This small but consistent redirection is the first step toward reshaping your inner narrative. Consider Leo, who often berated himself after presentations at work, replaying what he should have done differently. When he started pausing after each meeting to acknowledge what went well and to offer himself encouraging words, "It's okay to stumble, or every experience is building your skill, his dread began to fade. In time, his confidence became rooted not in perfection, but in his willingness to show up and grow. Another intentional practice is to actively celebrate small wins and progress, however modest they seem. Keep a daily or weekly journal to record things you handled well or times you overcame hesitation, even if just a little. Doing this builds evidence that you are moving forward, and it helps quiet the persistent demand for monumental achievements. Olivia, for instance, set a goal to speak up more in group discussions. She soon realized that even asking a single question or agreeing with someone's point was worthy of celebration. As her record of wins grew, so did her belief in her ability to contribute, easing her anxiety and encouraging bigger attempts at leadership and engagement. One more vital step is to practice self-kindness when inevitable setbacks or doubts appear. When fear or failure rears up, respond with phrases such as, "I am learning, not failing," or "mistakes are part of being human." This compassionate response provides the emotional safety needed to take risks, try again, and build true resilience. Mark, who once shied away from new hobbies after a single awkward attempt, embraced this new inner dialogue and allowed himself to be a beginner. This gave him the freedom to try painting, sports, and speaking a new language, building skill and joy rather than limiting his world. Those repeated moments of self-kindness lowered the cost of vulnerability, dramatically increasing his willingness to experiment, connect, and enjoy his own progress. You'll notice that as these practices become habits, your sense of confidence grows, not because you avoid trouble and failure, but because you trust your ability to face life with patience and renewed effort. Self-compassion provides the fuel for making courageous choices and for moving steadily, even joyfully, through challenges, knowing you remain on your own side at every turn. Start your journey today by writing yourself a supportive note after a difficult moment, or record one thing each evening that you did well or approached with kindness. Let your self-compassionate voice guide your steps, building a well of confidence that no challenge or criticism can empty. In the next chapter, you're invited to embrace this new confidence as you take the final leap into a life of freedom and fullness. Get ready for concrete ways to live authentically and pursue dreams with an open, empowered heart. Remember to subscribe to Intentional Prosperity. Give this video a like and share your reflections, victories, or suggestions in the comments. Your growth helps our whole community to thrive, and every act of self-kindness brings us closer to a world built on understanding and hope. Chapter 12. Living Free, Living Fully. What does it mean to truly live free? Free from the old anxieties, free from the stories and fears that once kept you playing small, and free to shape a life that feels vibrantly authentic. Envision, just for a moment, walking through your days guided not by stress, approval-seeking, or silent, gnawing self-doubt, but by a steady sense of purpose and unshakable inner peace. Many people spend years, sometimes a lifetime, haunted by the idea that life is passing them by while they are stuck in routines defined by obligation, safe choices, and invisible walls. When each day feels predictable or burdened by what others might think, it is easy to wonder if you're truly living or just moving through the motions on autopilot. The challenge of living fully is a quiet but powerful longing shared by countless people. Sometimes you notice it in the unfulfilled dreams you once cherished, the relationships that remain surface deep, or the habits of saying yes to what's expected instead of what feels right. You might look at your calendar and realize plenty is happening, but little feels meaningful. The fear of judgment, failure, or what you could lose if you step off the well-worn path holds you back from taking risks that could bring real joy and discovery. Meanwhile, that gentle ache within keeps asking, is there more? Could I dare to live a life that's truly bold, joyful, and mine? The transformative solution to this dilemma lies in assembling the tools and perspectives you've collected so far. Acceptance, ownership, calm, trust, clarity, and self-compassion, and putting them into true action. Living free and fully does not mean chasing reckless adventure or denying responsibility. It means boldly showing up to your life with all you are, unashamed to claim your space, dreams, and voice. It means giving yourself the power to say yes, to experiences and choices that once felt too intimidating, and no to what drains your spirit or confines your growth. This transformation begins with one courageous desire: to honor your true self, moment by moment, without apology or defense. The core idea driving this transformation is presence, the commitment to live in the richness of now rather than the shadows of what if and one day. When you adopt this mindset, every choice, conversation, and challenge becomes an opportunity to express your real values and move with freedom. Living fully is not out of reach. It's a habit you strengthen by weaving together little acts of honesty and bravery each day. Life starts to feel brighter. Risks become invigorating rather than paralyzing, and your days develop a spark that cannot be granted by anyone but yourself. Confidence no longer wavers with outside approval. Joy grows from within, rooted in your willingness to be perfectly, uniquely, courageously you. This approach is the foundation upon which fulfillment is built, a life rich in meaning, connection, and freedom, not someday but today. To live free and fully, begin by taking small, intentional risks that express your truest self. Start with choices that feel slightly uncomfortable, yet align with what you value. Maybe it's voicing your real opinions in a work meeting, saying no to a commitment that depletes you, or carving out an hour for a neglected passion. Jessica always believed she had to please everyone at her workplace, often agreeing to extra tasks she silently resented. The moment she bravely asserted her boundaries, politely but firmly, she felt an immediate surge of relief and unexpected respect from her colleagues. This tiny act of authenticity became a turning point, encouraging her to make more decisions that reflected her real priorities, gradually coloring her life with more energy and self-respect. Continue the journey by welcoming new experiences, even if they bring uncertainty. Seek out moments of adventure, vulnerability, or curiosity every week. Michael, who had quietly dreamed of learning the guitar in his 40s, gave himself permission to sign up for lessons despite his initial embarrassment. In doing so, he found not only newfound confidence and a creative outlet, but the joy of connecting with other beginners equally eager to stretch beyond their comfort zones. As you collect these experiences, let yourself savor not only your successes, but also the excitement, connection, and resilience born from daring to try. Reinforce this momentum by checking in with yourself regularly and celebrating steps forward, however small. Journal each week about what felt true or meaningful, and notice decisions that brought comfort and freedom. Applaud yourself for growth, not perfection. Acknowledge the courage it takes to say yes to life in genuine, honest ways. Over time, this commitment encourages a profound sense of sovereignty. You stop waiting for permission to live boldly and start designing your days from the inside out. The benefits of living free and fully begin to appear in small but powerful ways. Increased joy, stronger relationships, a remarkable sense of possibility, and the inner peace that comes from alignment with your true self. Bit by bit, anxieties that once confined you transform into fuel for new adventures. Your presence expands. Your relationships grow deeper as you let others see more of who you really are, and your daily life becomes richer with meaning and satisfaction. When you finally grant yourself permission to live fully, you become an inspiration to others, creating a ripple effect that encourages more authenticity within your circles and beyond. Thank you for joining us on this transformative journey through acceptance, self-trust, and authentic abundance in Acceptance Over Anxiety, a guide to freedom and wealth. May these lessons give you the strength to meet every challenge with presence and every success with gratitude. If you found value here, please like, comment with your own experiences, and subscribe to Intentional Prosperity for more content that encourages your growth and joy. Your participation inspires us and our whole community to keep building lives of purpose, courage, and harmony.